Welcome back to Of Light and Form, the podcast where we explore the soul, the mystery of consciousness, and everything in between. And I'm your host, Jade, and today we're stepping into Chapter 2 of Seth Speaks by Jane Roberts. This chapter is titled My Present Environment, Work, and Activities. And Seth takes us deeper into what existence is like outside of physical form, giving us a glimpse into the life of a non-physical being. And while that might sound a little out there, what he shares has real implications for how we see ourselves. So the first part we'll discuss the nature of the soul. And Seth says something powerful right away. He says, "You are as dead now as you will ever be." And let that settle. Just pause this and let that settle. But do come back. It's his way of saying that physical life and non-physical life are just different forms of expression. One isn't more real than the other. The soul never stops living. It simply shifts focus. It's like tuning into a different station. He also describes his current, quote, environment as being one where thought instantly creates form, where identity isn't lost when the body is gone, and where time doesn't exist in the way we think it does. He says he can tune into the past, the future, and multiple lives all at once. That is so interesting to me, and it would forever be interesting to me. And it made me think, what if time isn't a line but a circle, or it could be a spiral? And what if our souls aren't trapped in this one single lifetime, but moving through many simultaneously? And if you've read this book in its entirety already, you know that Seth goes into these questions in depth and explains how our soul is spread out through many lifetimes. So the second part that I want to get into is, what does this mean for us? So there is comfort in knowing that the personality we have now is not discarded at death. Seth emphasizes that our identity continues to evolve. I don't know about you, but that gave me a deep sense of peace, because it means that the parts of us that we cherish, our introversion or extroversion, our creativity, our sense of humor, they don't just dissolve, they expand. And it also invites a powerful question, like, if my soul continues after death, then what am I doing with this chapter of my life now? Am I creating meaning? Am I aligning with what lights me up? Or am I moving through life on autopilot? So let's go now into the next part, which is a mystical detail. So Seth says he often sends parts of his consciousness to walk through different realities, even to experience physical ones, the ones again through projection. And if that sounds wild to you, just think about our dreams. In dreams, we move in and out of dimensions effortlessly. And maybe we're doing more of what Seth does than we realize. He even describes communicating telepathically with others who have passed on. And it's not in a spooky, haunted way, but in a beautiful, intentional exchange of consciousness. And I want to leave you with a soul whisper today. So here's something that you can reflect on, something to journal about, and to come back to later on, if you wish. So the questions are, what do you believe happens to your soul when you die? And if you could visit your future or past self, just like Seth says he does, what part of your story would you want to see again or differently? Let those questions sink in as well before you start writing. And also share it with us, or you don't have to. And that's the end of this podcast. And I want to thank you so much for joining me on this chapter of the journey. And if this stirred something in you or reminded you of your own soul's voice, I want to invite you to share this episode and subscribe. Your soul is vast, it's eternal, and it's deeply creative. And you're only beginning to remember. And in the next episode, we'll step into chapter 3, where Seth dives into my work and those dimensions of reality into which it takes me. Until then, keep listening inward. Of Light and Form will be right here.